mother is happily breastfeeding her baby. Suddenly she notices that something is wrong. It felt like her whole body was being sucked dry by the baby. She cried out desperately. The mother-in-law came running over in time. The mother-in-law forced the baby away from the mother. It turned out that just when Dia was pregnant, was being watched by a 100-year-old man. He too had drawn a circle on the ground. He thrust a stick into the center. Dia's stomach began to ache. The old man smiled strangely, but Dia didn't know. The baby in her belly had already lost its life. Dia went back and poured a glass of water. She drank it and felt that the water tasted strange. She didn't think much of it and left. At that moment the water turned green. A mysterious woman also appeared in the courtyard. She was the old man's wife. At that moment, Dia's stomach started to hurt badly. The husband picks her up and rushes to the hospital, but halfway to the hospital, the car suddenly stalled. The anxious husband had to leave Dia behind to seek help. At this point, Dia was she was drawn to a mysterious force. When she came to her senses, the pain in her stomach intensifies. Suddenly a woman appeared. It was the old man's wife, Sarah. Four more strange women appeared behind her. They began to forcefully deliver Dia's baby. When the husband returns, he sees them in time to stop them, but his wife was already in severe pain. They had no choice but to let her continue delivering the baby. Sarah, in order not to be affected, a circular flame was released. After the baby was born, Sarah gave the baby to the man. The man received his dead son. The intense heartache caused him to wail in pain. At that moment Sarah took the child. She brushed her hand over the child's face. The child miraculously came back to life. It was her husband who had managed to attach himself to the child. The man took the child back. He was so happy he couldn't speak. He thanked Sarah sincerely. Sarah smiled strangely as she left. When the nurse took the baby into the nursery, all the children in the room were crying loudly. The crying stopped when they came out. When they came in, the children continued to cry. The nurse had no choice but to take the children away. The parents were told what had just happened. The father was not surprised. He was proud that the baby was different. When Dia was discharged from the hospital and took the children home, the child's aunt was holding the plate for the blessing, but it suddenly fell to the floor, and a strange creature crawled out of it. When everyone had calmed down, Dia had just taken one step into the house. The donkey outside started to scream again. This series of events is all very ominous, but Dia feels that having a child, it was the best thing that ever happened to her, so there was no reason to believe in these bad omens. When the grandmother came to the goddess with the baby in her arms, the child began to cry loudly. Suddenly Sarah grabbed the baby out of the grandmother's hand. The baby's crying stopped instantly. The grandmother asked Sarah what she was doing here. She said that your son had asked me to babysit the baby. She took the baby and left the house. She came out into the yard. She looked at the child happily.